Now the next video in the averages section, we're going to look at averages from tables, and we're going to find out how we can estimate the mean and locate the mode and median from tables. It sounds awfully complicated. Basically, it's averages from tables. Now, we're going to look at how we can estimate the mean from a group frequency table. Sounds a bit difficult. That is a group frequency table. So we've got the number of shirts owned by the number of people. Okay. Now we don't actually know what the data is. Okay, so see that group there. Now there's 10 to 14 shirts owned by 33 people. Now we don't know if they own 10 or 11 or 12 or 13 or 14. But we know they own between 10 and 14. All we can say is the data lies within a range of values, which we could also call a group or a class or an interval. Now we do like our words in maths, don't we? So what we can do is actually we're going to take the midpoint of each group, okay? And that's why we say this is an estimate, because we don't know what the data is. We're estimating that it'll kind of work out okay in the end if we call it the midpoint of 10 and 14. Best understood by looking at an example. There's our table, number of shirts, number of people. Now we need to shift that across, as if by magic, and we're going to have 2 extra columns. Remember the one I was saying was midpoint? So what is the midpoint between 0 and 4? Well, to get that, we do 0 add 4. That's 4. Even I can do that one. 4 divided by 2 is 2. There's the midpoint. Next group, or class, or interval. 5 to 9. So 5 add 9 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. That's the midpoint. Next one, 10 add 14, that's 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. That's the midpoint there. And you get the idea. 15 add 19 is 34. 34 divided by 2. And the last one, 20 add 24 is 44. 44 divided by 2 is 22. So that's how we get the midpoint. Now what we're going to do, we're going to call the number of people frequency, and we're going to do the midpoint times the frequency. Alright, so that's 12 times 2. 12 2's 24. 17 times 7, 119. 33 times 12, 396. 24 times 17, and 14 times 22. So we got the midpoint. We then multiply the midpoint by the frequency. So we've got those all worked out. Now we're going to get the total of the frequency column. If we add those up, we get 100. And the total of that column over on the right, 1255. And our estimate for the mean is 1255 divided by 100, which is 12.55. So we can say the estimate for the mean number of shirts that people own is 12.55. There we go. Let's try another one. Number of texts received, 0 to 9, 10 to 19, etc., etc., number of people. And we'll call the number of people F for frequency. Calculate an estimate of the mean. There we go. We need 2 extra columns, midpoint and midpoint times frequency. Now 0 to 9, 0 add 9 is 9, 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. 10 plus 19 is 29, 29 divided by 2 is 14.5. So let's put the midpoints in. They go in there like that. Okay, now we're going to do midpoint times frequency, and that gives us that. And this is all calculator work. This would have to be on a calculator paper in an exam. And there we go. 5 times 49.5, and the last one, 79.5. What do we do next? We add up number of people, frequency, 200. Far right, midpoint times F. There we go. And an estimate of the mean is therefore 3250 divided by 200, which is 16.25. Let's have a look at an example of an exam question. This is from the WJEC, November 2015. In the mountains of Upland Grub, the snowfall on each of the 28 days was measured. Here's the results. Calculate an estimate for the mean. So we know what we've got to do. We're going to shift that across, and we're going to have 2 extra columns. And we'll call it number of days, frequency. So 5 to 15. 5 and 15 is 20. Divided by 2 is 10. There we go, the next midpoint. And the next one. And the midpoint of that one. And then what do we do? Midpoint times frequency, 5 10s, 50. Notice the numbers are a lot easier on this than on the previous examples we had. 10 times 20 is 200, 12 30 is 360, 140. It's 40. Add up the frequency, and the midpoint times frequency, 28 for frequency, 650. Estimate of the mean, 650 divided by 28, we get that. We're going to give an answer to maybe one decimal place, 23.2. There we go. So it's a nice little routine we can go through and get the estimate for the mean from a grouped frequency table. Now they do also ask us other things about the mode or modal class and where the median might lie. So let's have a look at that too. State the modal class. Now the modal is the highest frequency. Mode, most often. Which has got the highest frequency? Oh, there we go. That's the highest frequency. So the class is that there. 25 is less than or equal to S, which is less than 35. So that's quite straightforward, and people don't really struggle with that. This one, next one, causes a little bit of grief. Write down the class in which the median lies. Now remember, the median is once we've got everything in order, it's the middle number. We've got 28 days, so it's an even number of points, so we need the middle 2, don't we? So 28 divided by 2 is 14, so the median would be in between the 14th and 15th days. Right, how does that help us then? Well, if you look there, there's the first 5 days in there. Now the next one, we've got 10 days, so that means that's day 6 to day 15. Now we want between the 14th and 15th, so the 14th and 15th will be in that group there. 15 less than or equal to S, less than 25. There we go. So that's how we handle averages from tables. And what you've got to do next is have a go at the exercise. And it's bye for now.